It's Saturday, September 7, 2019, and this is Globespan 24x7 Week in Review. My name is Samuel Sugnandan. We will take a look at some of the major stories for the week, beginning Monday, September 2 to Friday, September 6, 2019. Due to the accident on the Demerara Harbour Bridge, Public Infrastructure Minister David Patterson had announced that repair works on the damaged bridge was expected to be completed by the following day to allow light traffic flow across the Demerara River. We take a look back at that story.
The situation at the Demerara Harbour Bridge remains the same. As persons are aware from previous reports, the incident occurred last evening when a barge crashed into the Demerara Harbour Bridge. Minister Patterson made this announcement earlier today while updating the media on the current status of the Demerara Harbour Bridge. Last evening, a barge crashed into a section of the bridge, rendering it inoperable. Vehicles were on the bridge at the time of the incident, but only one sustained damages. The minister said that damages are scheduled to be fixed by Tuesday evening to allow the flow of light traffic. According to Patterson, the crew from the crashed barge are currently in police custody.
Right now, I know it, or before anyone asks, the situation with the barge is that the crew and the crew in the barge has been detained by the police. And they're right now, I know, giving statements at the CID headquarters. I was told the preliminary assessment from Marad, they are yet to confirm it, that they suspected the barge was outside its anchorage point, its designated anchorage point. They also suspect that the barge was not properly manned because it was not properly manned. So that was one of the reasons.
General Manager of the Demerara Harbour Bridge, Ralston Adams, explained that they were able to replace part of the damaged area to assist them in getting access to the other damaged parts of the bridge.
This morning, we were able to replace the connecting post at span 13. That was to facilitate us moving over to span 16, getting equipment over to span 16. We had to put in some temporary. We'll be working at span 16 to.
According to Adams, the damages caused by the barge resulted in the bridge becoming out of alignment.
The barge came into contact with the bridge at two locations, span 12, 13, and again at span 16. We saw some severe damages. You had a chance to look at it outside. The bridge is completely out of alignment between the high span and the retractor span.
With the bridge out of operation, the only means of crossing the river is by using the water taxi service at the Starbuck and Friedenhoop stellings. This is almost the third time Demerara Harbour Bridge has been extensively damaged by passing vessels. Such an issue can have severe impact on business transactions and operations on both sides of the river. The Ministry of Public Infrastructure is pleading with the general public to take note of the deadline 10 p.m. for the water taxi crossings between the Starbuck and Friedenhoop stelling. Reporting live from the Demerara Harbour Bridge for Globespan 24x7 News, Shakima Day.
Following a walkabout exercise on Sunday last, Georgetown Mayor Ubraj Narayan assured residents of Albertown, Georgetown that their drainage issues will be addressed soon. More in this report.
A number of councillors led by the mayor of Georgetown, Ubraj Narayan, journeyed to the streets of Albertown, Georgetown on Sunday to listen to the concerns of the residents. Following that exercise, the team assembled at St. Ambrose Primary School, where residents stressed that the drainage in the community needs to be addressed urgently. According to the mayor, the issue partially stems from permits being given out to block drainage.
Most of the concern was drainage issue, but a lot of infraction with buildings. We find that people was giving permit to block drainage. So now we have to go at the Mayor and City Council and we'll make representation who give them the permit and all these things. And
Mayor Narayan stressed that such issues can result in bigger problems for the entire city.
The city, not only in Albertown and Queenstown, our constituency one, it will cause problem in the entire city, where we'll continue to have flooding, continue with this kind of behavior.
Residents complained of the unsanitary conditions they are faced with on a daily basis, not to mention the amount of infectious diseases they can contract because of the clogged drainage system. Mayor Narain assured the residents that the issue will be immediately rectified. He also pleaded with the residents to ensure that their surroundings are kept clean, as they need to play their part also. For Globespan 24x7 News, Shakima Day.
The Ghana National Industrial Corporation, GNIC, on Tuesday handed over a brand new speedboat to the Ghana Prison Service to serve as the emergency response transportation system for the Mazaruni prison. Here's that story.
Director of Prisons Gladwin Samuels today received a brand new speedboat in a simple handing over ceremony at the GNIC wharf. The boat will aid in the delivery of emergency services at the Mazaruni prison. Due to the ongoing expansions at the Mazaruni prison slated to be completed by the end of 2019, the correctional facility will see an intake of more than 200 additional prisoners being held there. According to Director Samuels, this new addition will help them to meet the demand.
And in keeping with that expansion, the needs for emergency response at the location will certainly increase. Over the years, we have acquired a number of speedboats, but they were either constructed of wood or fiberglass. And we would have seen rapid deterioration of those boats, which resulted to us currently having only one speedboat in operation.
Samuels disclosed that the boat amounted to 10.9 million and went on to give a breakdown of the expenditure.
This is divided into two sums. One, $5.5 million for the construction of the vessel by GNIC, and then we had to procure the two 200 horsepower engine, which came in at $504,000 plus. I am confident that with the addition of this vessel to Mazaruni prison, it will significantly boost the capacity or capabilities at the location, especially as it relates to responding to emergencies.
The director noted that they were supported by the Guyana Defense Force when transporting high-profile prisoners with medical emergencies. He stated that as the prison continues to be developed, more river assets will be added. The keys to the boat were handed over to the Permanent Secretary of the Public Security Minister by a representative of the GNIC. For Globespan 24x7 News, Shakima Day.
Education Month 2019 was launched at the Ministry of Education's Sport Complex in Georgetown on Tuesday, with special focus this year being placed on special needs. More in this report.
Launched under the theme, Education, the Key to National Development, the Ministry of Education has planned a host of activities to commemorate Education Month 2019. The main highlight among these activities is a day of sports solely for special needs children. Education Minister Nicolette Henry, in her remarks after declaring open, stressed that the nation will fail if education is not at the forefront.
His Excellency and this administration believe that education is the key to national development. And if education fails, the nation fails.
Minister Henry stated the development of a cohesive nation cannot be done without the nation's main resource, its people.
$52.2 billion would have been allocated to the education sector, which is over 15% increase from 2018. This investment in education is critical and crucial to the development of this nation. It was John Dewey who stated that education is not preparation for life, education is life itself.
Marshall Hudson, who serves as the Chief Education Officer, in his address commended teachers on their efforts and sacrifices in ensuring that every child receives a sound education.
That the job that we are asked to do is not a simple job, and therefore it is incumbent on us to give our best, all of our energies and efforts as we attempt to educate the nation's children. So to our teachers, I say continue to teach with purpose. Teaching cannot be in a vacuum, teach with purpose. And I know our teachers, they've been doing a great job, and I really want to commend them at this juncture, knowing that at some point in time they will impact and liberate the minds of our young people and set them on a course to enjoy social mobility.
National Spelling Bee competition, engineering and technology fair, debating competitions, and the celebration of International Literacy Day are among the activities slated for Education Month celebrations. Reporting for Globespan 24x7 News, I am Abel Harris.
The Georgetown Chamber of Commerce continues to push for local businesses to equally benefit from the oil and gas sector and has therefore taken up U.S. Ambassador Sarah Ann Lynch on recent comments she made about the country's local content push. We tell you more in this report from Wednesday.
For example, some recent suggestions of a local content policy in Guyana may send a signal that some investors, as well as the employment and know-how benefits they bring, may not be welcome here. At a time of increasing integration, especially in a globalized energy sector, focusing on who owns a firm could be counterproductive. Rather, the emphasis should be on whether the firms, be they local, be they international, are following international best practices on critical matters such as financial transparency, environmental protection, and otherwise acting in a manner that contributes directly to Guyana's overall sustainable prosperity.
Those were the comments made by U.S. Ambassador Sarah Ann Lynch at the recently held AmCham's annual general meeting. The ambassador stated that the call for a local content policy in Guyana deliberately sends a message to overseas investors that they are not needed. She opined that Guyana should look to foreign investors not as adversaries but as partners looking to help grow Guyana's economy. But despite this, the Georgetown Chamber of Commerce industry still stands firm on their call for local business to get a slice of the oil pie. Senior Vice President of GGCI, Timothy Tucker.
And her country's businesses. We are the Georgetown Chamber of Commerce, and we have to do what is best for Guyanese businesses, and in that way, that's why the Chamber has always been supportive of local content, because it is what is best for Guyanese businesses. I understand she has to protect her investors and her and the companies from that country that is coming. We all see that her president is very pro-local content. So why not for his country? So we are very well on track with our local content to be pro-local content.
With first oil months away, government has assured that its local content policy will be completed before then and has promised considerable focus on capacity development. The primary goal of this policy is to facilitate the active participation and development of Guyanese labor and suppliers in the petroleum sector and to give rise to benefits from expenditure in the sector on labor, goods, and services for Guyanese industry, the economy, and wider society. Reporting for Globespan 24x7 News, I am Abel Harris.
The Director of the National Center for Educational Resource Development, NCERD, was on Wednesday presented with modified curriculum guides by the Department of Environment meant to integrate environmental science in the current school curriculum. We'll tell you more in this report.
Environmental Policy and Education Coordinator Alvin Doris disclosed that the project, which began in October last, stemmed from the lack of environmental coverage at the school level. He stated that the new curriculum was modified with a vision of what the school's curriculum should be from the standpoint of environmental coverage.
We brought together personnel with specialist educational background and experience in 4 key disciplines within the field of environment, and these are agriculture and forestry, biodiversity, climate change, and land geology and geography. So these persons review the school's curriculum guides from grade 1 through 9. And so we established this working group, and we reviewed the school's curriculum guides in those 4 subject areas named earlier. And we saw that the lack of environmental coverage provided us a great opportunity to propose what could be infused.
Director of NSERD, Jennifer Cumberbatch, in her remarks noted that the suggested modifications are important since the curriculum has not been updated despite the many changes that occurred throughout the world.
Long ago, in the 80s, early 80s, we weren't hearing much about climate change. We didn't know anything much about any green state development, but these are important changes that must be reflected in our new curriculum.
The director went on to state that the changes reflect this year's theme for Education Month and directly contributes to the development of the nation.
In this month of September, Education Month, we celebrate education under the theme Education, the key to development. And this, what we have been given, ends up being part of that key to the development of our curriculum and of our children.
According to the director, the suggestions are expected to be reviewed and the changes soon integrated into the current school curriculum. The suggestions tackle important environmental issues such as climate change, pollution, deforestation, among others. For Globespan 24x7 News, Shakima Day.
The opposition People's Progressive Party Civic, PPPC, is upset with the current state of affairs regarding election preparation and has sent a statement calling on the Guyana Elections Commission, GECOM, to start the process now, since the party feels that too much time has passed already. Here's that story.
With over 4 meetings held since the appointment of the new chairperson, retired Justice Claudette Singh, the PPPC says it feels that GECOM is nowhere closer to starting preparations for general and regional elections. As such, the party has described this as delay tactics, being directed by the APNU-AFC coalition government led by President David Granger. The PPPC said it has taken note of the fact that government-nominated GECOM commissioners continue to push for the merger of data garnered from the house-to-house registration with the National Register of Registrants. They have a complicit partner at the Secretariat of GECOM, as is evidenced by the production of timelines for election activities that accord with the APNU-AFC coalition's position on elections in 2020, despite the fact that elections should have been held since March 21st, 2019, the statement said. The PPPC maintains that the data garnered from the now scrapped house-to-house registration must not be used to contaminate the National Register of Registrants. A preliminary list of electors must be produced by GECOM, and there should be a move to claims and objections. At present, GECOM commissioners are in discussion about the production of redesigned national identification cards. This, the party believes, is wholly unnecessary at this point in time and is designed to delay the elections. Further, the PPPC said talk about cross-matching of fingerprints for the 370,822 persons GECOM claims to have registered during the now scrapped house-to-house registration stirs up more concerns. As such, the party feels that too much time has already passed and has stressed on the call for GECOM to begin preparations for elections now.
Guyana has a unique opportunity now that its name is on the international market to promote its brands. This way, local products could be sold to a much larger scale, allowing for greater economic opportunities and the promotion of all types of businesses. We find out more in this report.
According to Guyana's business director, Dominic Gaskin, name recognition is a key aspect in ensuring any country's economic growth. Gaskin explained that Guyana is just another small country in South America, but the name blossomed and touched the international scene when the oil discoveries were made.
Guyana has for a very long time suffered from a lack of name recognition until recently. The discoveries of oil have put Guyana on the map, and a lot more people around the world are now familiar with the name Guyana. And this will only increase in the coming years, and we need to do everything to maintain and to exploit that name recognition.
The director noted that Guyana has a vast array of unique products that can be marketed with the country's name at the forefront.
And therefore, if we can find special features or some special flavors that we can associate with these communities or these areas, then we can make our products and services more exclusive and more desirable.
Gaskin said that consumers are attracted to commodities that carry a strong name, reminding business owners that marketing can make or break a business.
The market, especially overseas markets, do place a premium on geographic indications. It's more of a social thing. People feel that they are contributing to something that's a little more familiar or a little more exclusive or unique, and they don't mind paying that extra money for such products. And this gives us a chance to compete in the global marketplace in areas where we could not normally have competed on price alone.
The business director said that Guyana is entering a transformative decade, and following this is the growth of our economy. He stated that the government is working to ensure that this change comes with an accelerated economic development focused primarily on improving sustainable sectors in Guyana. For Globespan 24x7 News, Shakima Day.
After a 4-hour-long meeting of commissioners at the Guyana Elections Commission GCOM, no decision has been made, but a proposal was made on Friday with regards to general elections being held in March of 2020. This is not sitting well with the opposition-appointed commissioners, who have maintained their position that elections could be held in November of this year instead. Meanwhile,
now at least 4 proposals from the Secretariat which suggest that elections will be held in March of next year.
2 days after 1 year away from the Constitution.
We are
1 year and 2 years.
opposed to that situation. We are insisting that we accord with the constitutional imperatives. We advise that the house registration is incomplete, it's aborted, and that there should only be minimal use of data from the house registration to identify persons who are first-time registrants for addition to by a process with the political parties and scrutineers to allow for a process for the addition of those first-time registrants, should not be much, into a database during a claims and objections period. And that will completely shorten the time period required for an election, and that election could hopefully be held no later than mid to late November.
Government-appointed Commissioner Vincent Alexander said that he and his colleagues are not opposed to the proposed timeline for elections to be held in March 2020.
We are looking at internal production based on procurement. And if anybody comes out on the that will be reported on. It's not yet.
So what number are you looking at?
Number of what? As many as there are.
Attorney General Basil Williams on Friday filed proceedings in the High Court to block the legal challenge mounted by Attorney Anil Nandlal against the government, which is seeking an order to compel the cabinet, including the president, to resign based on the vote of no confidence in the National Assembly. The application made by the Attorney General Basil Williams comes just days before the set day in which the matter is expected to be heard. The matter is scheduled for hearing at the High Court on Monday, September 9. The Attorney General stated in his application that Nandlal was an attorney on behalf of the leader of the opposition in the CCJ case regarding the no-confidence motion and actively participated in the proposals for the consequential orders to the CCJ. According to him, one of those proposals was for the President and the Cabinet to immediately resign and vacate office, but the CCJ refused to make such an order and clearly outlined that the Cabinet and President remain in office, but as a caretaker government. Williams further argued that the CCJ made it clear that Article 106(7) of the Constitution also envisages the constitutional players extending the time for holding of elections. The Attorney General feels the court is being asked to adjudicate on an issue that the final court, the CCJ, has pronounced upon, and as a consequence, the point is moot and clearly academic and a wanton abuse of the process of the High Court. In his application, Nandlal is also seeking an order restraining the cabinet inclusive of the president from meeting, making decisions as or performing the functions of cabinet. Nandlal has maintained that the court ruled that a no-confidence motion was properly passed and that upon the passage of that motion of no confidence in the government, the clear provisions of Article 106 immediately became engaged. Given that Cabinet has not resigned, Nandlal said government is in breach of the Constitution and the court has an inherent jurisdiction and a constitutional duty to grant appropriate remedies whenever the Constitution is likely to be contravened, as in this case, he claims. For Globespan 24x7 News, I'm Samuel Suknandon. And that has brought us to the end of today's news. We wish you a safe and productive week ahead. Until next time, my name is Samuel Suknandon saying goodbye.